The most historical event of professional wrestling has just closed. The Forbidden Door, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and All Elite Wrestling collaborated for a once-in-a-lifetime event where we got to see the biggest stars of both promotions go at it head-to-head tonight. What happened? Who showed up? Who became champion? We're going to have everything that you need to know about tonight's Forbidden Door event, plus exclusive footage from the venue itself tonight at the Forbidden Door at the United Center. So make sure you share the link or your stink. Hit that like button right now. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out! What's up, everyone? It is the Forbidden Door post show here on Sportskeeda Wrestling. It's Jose G and Jeremy Bennet bringing you everything you need to know what went down tonight. It was an eventful night tonight in Chicago. A lot of stuff went down, and we're here to bring you everything that you need to know. Plus, Kevin Kellam will be joining us live from the United Center during the AEW Forbidden Door media scrum. That should be happening any moment soon, so he'll be joining us. Jeremy, bro, what's going on, man? What did you think of tonight's event? Did it live up to the hype? Did it fall a little bit short? What are your thoughts, man?
I thought overall, especially the main card, it was exciting. It was some great matches. I thought the final two matches had some odd finishes to them. One was due to injury. I don't think the finish there was planned in the four-way for the IWGP. We'll get into that in a little bit. But overall, I thought the matches were great. I thought the main event was tremendous with Moxley and Tanahashi, a match that was several years in the making. They delivered. I thought it was probably, I would say, the second best match of the night, maybe third best behind Ospreay and Orange Cassidy, or, of course, the debuting Claudio Castagnoli against Zack Sabre Jr. Both of those matches back-to-back were really tremendous as well.
Yeah, man, there's definitely some noteworthy matches, and there's also some matches that had some questionable finishes. We're going to jump into all of them, so let's get started with the opening match of the night. What do we have here, Jeremy?
We started off, let's talk about the kickoff show. Three so-so matches, but one really good match. Swerve in Our Glory taking on Suzuki-gun. That was a great tag match that they had there, and Swerve in Our Glory, Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland still able to coexist. I think they're going to probably end up winning streak, get a title shot, and then finally the wheels fall off and Swerve officially turns heel.
Yeah, I get the feeling of the same.
We opened up with six-man tag. Really went really long. I was kind of surprised that the Jericho Appreciation Society, along with Minoru Suzuki, as they defeated Umino, Wheeler Yuta, and Eddie Kingston. I thought this probably should have been a shorter match. I think Suzuki and Jericho and Sammy should have finished these guys off a little sooner than it did. Still a pretty good match, but I think it should have been a little shorter.
Yeah, I think there were some matches that went on a little bit longer than I would have liked to, and this was definitely one of them. But it was still hella entertaining, man. And what's funny is that in these past few buy-ins that we've had, it's only been maybe like one or two matches. They spent like the first half of the buy-in kind of recounting and just going over everything that's going on leading up to, to these matches. But in this one, I was actually pleasantly surprised. I think we got like 4 total matches on the buy-in.
Yeah,
which was kind of unusual, but it was actually really good because that just added another hour of wrestling to this incredible pay-per-view. So I'm not mad at it at all.
Yeah, and obviously, Shota Umino, he was the young boy for Chris Jericho when he was over in Japan, and then they had that segment backstage where Jericho, who is a wizard, threw the fireball in his face. So I'm curious to see if they're going to continue that feud. I think it'd be a good idea to continue that feud with a guy that was a former young boy to Chris Jericho. I think that's a good story, and maybe they started it. It was an excellent tag match. I just thought maybe the other team was a little more stacked. So I figured maybe they'd put him away a little quicker. The next one is the triple threat winner take all for the Ring of Honor and IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. This was a tremendous match with these three teams. Dax scaring us. I think it was a work, but he was still scaring us when he dropped the elbow, grabbed his shoulder, and got carried off. But I think he was working us on that one. And a great moment when he came back. Great pop when he came back. And now you've got FTR, who's now won tag team gold in 7 companies and now are currently holding it in 2 of those 7 companies right now. So they are now known as the 7-star team. So well deserved by FTR. No, I think this was the right move. This was the team to win this match.
Yes, agreed.
And hope maybe they'll be holding that gold going into All Out against the Young Bucks, hopefully. Where they will.
I think I told you this a few weeks ago, man. Dax Harwood, as a singles competitor, he's amazing. As a tag team guy, he's even better. But man, the show that they gave us tonight, FTR, man, they're just on another level. And I don't care. I don't care what anybody says, and I might be stretching it along, but FTR are the biggest stars of AEW right now. Just listen to the response from the fans. It's very evident. No other single superstar or tag team gets the reaction that FTR gets. And that's why I think they are the most over team in AEW.
Yeah, I think that's why it's going to lead to an all-out match against the Young Bucks where they take those titles too, and they hold 3 companies' titles all at the same time.
That would be incredible. That would be unbelievable. But this match had everything, dude. This match was absolutely unbelievable. And the finish with that big rig was just unbelievable. And the sell by Rocky Romero where he just bounces off those knees and just lays flat. It was just the way that it finished. It was just pure art, bro. Absolute art.
Feel sorry for Cash Wheeler, who had Great Khan sit on his head. Hopefully Great Khan didn't have tacos for dinner.
Maybe he had some Chicago dish pizza.
Oh boy, that was not a flattering spot to be in. But obviously, Cash Wheeler, of course, who in his own right had a great singles match with Will Ospreay this past week, and showed that he could hang by himself against the other 2 teams until Dax could make the return. That was just a tremendous match all along. Jeff Cobb is a beast. I'd love to see AEW pick him up sometime. We then stroll into the Fatal 4-Way for the All Atlantic Championship with Miro, Pac, Clark Connors, and Malachi Black. And this match, this is going to be like a broken record, but this match also delivered. It was some great action with all 4 guys. Clark Connors impressing everybody. I know not a lot of people have seen him, but Clark Connors is a stud, a guy to watch out for down the line. And the crowd realized that, most of them probably seeing him for the first time, and started getting behind him. I figured Malachi Black would get the win here, but I'm very happy that Pac got the win, just because of the fact that much like Malachi Black, he has deserved gold. And so I was happy for him to get that win.
Yeah, this was for sure a really fun match to watch, especially since we got to crown a brand new All Atlantic or All 7 Oceans champion. But Pac was the right guy to win it. I really wanted Miro to win it. Miro, people had
the pop he got. Miro. The pop he got when he came out.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, the people were behind Miro. The finish itself, it was almost like a finish that you would see in NXT, because there was so much going on, and then you get the mist at the very end from Malachi Black blinding Miro, and then you get Pac hitting his move at the end. This was a good move. He hasn't had any gold in AEW. Yeah. So Pac getting the one hit was very good for his career and for AEW. So yeah, I think this is the right call.
Yeah, he didn't hit the Black Arrow, but went for the 450, landed it, and then went into the Brutalizer. So that was a pretty cool transition to get the W there. Next up is a 6-man tag. It was going to be an 8-man tag, but got when Takahashi came down with a fever. He could not make the flight from Japan over to the United States, which is sad because I'm a big Takahashi fan, but I'm also a big El Phantasmo fan. So I'm glad to have gotten to see him work with the Young Bucks coming out to the old Bullet Club music, taking on the Dudes with Attitudes, a throwback name into the WCW days, with Sting, who was in that group with the Dudes of Attitudes with Luger, fighting the 4 Horsemen. He teams up with Darby Allin and Takagi. And man, I thought like the Bucks I thought Bullet Club took out Sting, but nope. He was that 63-year-old crazy son of a bitch jumping off of the entrance set up there, and that was I always love what he does. He does those dives so well at 63, man.
Man, I'll tell you, dude. I've always been very vocal of how much of not of a Sting fan that I am. I don't think that he should be in the ring. I don't think that he should be performing. However, tonight he kind of proved me wrong. He put on a pretty good performance. I mean, just opening up that match, jumping from the top of that cylinder at the entrance of the stageway, that was just unbelievably unexpected. I thought he was just going to rappel from the top,
I
like he
thought
did
so
back
too.
in the day. Like, because they put the camera shot all the way up there, and then everybody's looking up there. He's like, "Oh no, he's behind them!" And then he jumps, and then he's jumping from the top rope all the way in. Like he thinks he's a cruiserweight. He thinks like he's still in his 30s. But you know what? Good for him. He can still pull it off at the good old ripe age of 62, and more power for him to do that. Mad respect to you.
I wonder who that was in the rafters. Maybe it was the guy that you see in Talking Shopomania pay-per-views. Maybe it was Stang up there in the rafters. But yeah, this was a tremendous match with El Phantasmo reminds me of Kenny Omega's little brother. He is amazing. I wish AEW would sign him up, or he had a run in Impact is where I caught a lot of him early on. And he's tremendous. I like what he does in the ring. He's got a great character. And but yeah, that was a lot of fun. A big moment there for Takagi to get the pinfall on Phantasma, to give him a lot of momentum heading
I'm a big
back
fan
to
of
Japan.
Shingo Takagi, bro. That guy is unbelievable.
Yeah, so that's going to give him a lot of momentum. Is he? I think he's in the G1, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to look. There's 28 guys in that thing, and Block A is a beast of a block. You got Jeff Cobb, and you got Lance Archer.
That's the Haas block, bro.
Yeah, Okada's in there too, man.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good block right there.
But yeah, Sting again has. I think he's always impressed in his AEW runs and matches, and I always love it when he gives a good no sell, and that the crowd just popped when he no sold those super kicks. And what was great was Kevin Kelly on commentary for not only the Bucks but for Adam Cole, doing his classic super kick calls, man. The only thing that was missing was Steve Corino in there as well. It was so cool to hear him go Cole every time he did a super kick. It was tremendous. Next up is the AEW Women's Title, the only match really to not feature anybody from New Japan. And boy, did the women bring it with this title match. Thunder Rosa taking on Toni Storm. This was, a wild card of what we were going to get in terms of match quality. I thought the women gave us a hell of a damn match here.
And by the way, guys, Kevin Kellam will be joining us very, very soon from the United Center in the middle of the AEW New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door Media Scrum, where Tony Khan will be speaking about the event. And we'll be having that for you very, very, very soon. So if you haven't done it so yet, make sure you're sharing this live stream right now in your favorite wrestling group. If you're watching us on Facebook, if you're watching us on YouTube, go ahead and share this right now on Twitter. Tag your friends in the comments also so they can join in on the conversation, and smash that like button and engage with the show. So the more people that engage with the show, the more people get to watch the show. All right, guys. So again, we do have Kevin Kellam joining us very, very soon from the United Center to cover the Forbidden Door post media scrum. So he'll be joining us very, very soon here. So as we continue to break everything down from the Forbidden Door.
After the women, I called this on Top Story. I also called it earlier tonight on Twitter. This match would steal the show. I was absolutely correct. Will Ospreay and Orange Cassidy were just tremendous. These guys, they brought it. They have a great chemistry together, and it is just it was a truly amazing to see those two go at it. And what was even more amazing than that was the fact that we got after the match, we got the legendary Shibata showing up. Man, so good to see him not only be healthy after everything that he's gone through physically, but to see him just kick some ass in the ring again and do it in an AEW ring after that classic match that Ospreay and Orange Cassidy put on. It just was the whole package from Bell to Shibata coming out was just a great moment, I thought.
Yeah, man, and it's surprising to see Shibata because I've been watching Shibata for years when he had really short hair, and then I remember he had that really bad injury to his skull, where his
Yep.
skull was completely
Yeah,
dented.
because he was
Now his
starting to
hair is all
do.
shagged out, and
He,
he just covers it.
yeah, about 6 or 7 years ago, he started using the headbutt, and I think he was laying into it a little too much, and that caused that damage. And the hematoma, I think, is what he had. Oh, it
Hmm.
was scary. It was scary. So it's good to see him back. I don't know if we'll ever get him in a full capacity ever again, but man, it was good to see him show up. There were people that were just losing their minds that he did, and they did it after this masterpiece of a match between Ospreay. I would probably. I would call Ospreay and Cassidy my favorite match of the night.
It was a fun match, man.
Yeah.
It was definitely fun. I'm still kind of confused because for people who don't watch New Japan on their regular, they don't know what's going on with the United States Championship because
Rock hard.
rock hard Juice
What a
Robinson.
nickname. What a
I
nickname.
know, the greatest nickname in pro wrestling. But Juice Robinson has the physical possession of the championship. There was some issues back at New Japan where Osprey won, but there's some controversy. Do you know a little bit more about that?
Yeah, he left. He said he was retiring, and he lied about that, and then came back and basically stole the belt because he never lost the belt. But he stole it, so that's why Osprey didn't come out with it. He came out with the Rev Pro title. And so they're setting up. It's kind of weird because they're kind of both heels, but they're setting up an Osprey and Juice match down the line. Not sure when they'll do that, but I'm sure that's going to be coming up here in the coming month or two.
Gotcha.
But yeah, once again, I would say Osprey, Orange Cassidy. That's my match of the night. But moment of the night is I didn't know why they were screaming because the camera was showing the crowd, but what was on the screen was the Swiss flag, and that made the crowd go nuts because Claudio Castagnoli made his AEW debut, much to the prediction of Sean Ross Sapp from the other day. Word is, and I do have some breaking news on that here. And also Kev Kellam, who is at the media scrum, has told us that Claudio will be a part of that. We are live streaming the media scrum on this station here on this stream, so you don't have to jump anywhere else. You can stick here with us as we watch it live. But the report from Sean Ross Sapp is it to be a long-term deal, but you didn't see Tony Khan tweet it out yet because they is not officially signed it yet, but there is a tentative deal in place for Claudio Castagnoli to be a long-term member of the AEW roster. He has been training at Flatbacks, which is the school of Sean Spears and Tyler Breeze over the past few weeks to get ready for this match. And AEW has already prepared merchandise that this guy already put an order in for.
Nice.
I bought a Claudio and a CM Punk shirt.
Very nice.
20% off at Shop AEW using the code Forbidden. So I decided to. It's a sweet looking shirt, so I decided to pick that baby up. And so yeah, this was Fightful was told this was not the original plan for Claudio's debut. They will try to get more information on that as the days come by, but it is said to be a long-term deal.
All right, guys. So we're going to cut it a little bit short here on the review. We're already getting Tony Khan speaking. So we're going to bring the live stream right now to you guys. Again, make sure you are sharing the video, liking, tagging your friends in the comment section for the post media scrum. So here we go.
We've always had growth on our pay-per-views year over year based on really strong word of mouth and trying to do good TV week to week to build them. And I think even with all the challenges here, the TV's been really strong the last several weeks. I'm really proud of the work we've done. And to be honest, I've never been prouder of how a show's come together. And a lot of it comes to New Japan and their great roster of talent and their great people. For me, being here quarterbacking it, it's been a challenge. And it's probably been, other than the early shutdown, lockdown wrestling of 2020, this is probably the biggest creative challenge I've ever faced. And I think we did come through into a great show. Probably since Double or Nothing 2020, I can't remember being so proud of putting something together that came together so quickly and changed a lot from what it might have originally been. And when we did the first lockdown pay-per-view, so it was pretty special. And that first lockdown pay-per-view, the world title match for AEW was Jon Moxley versus Brody Lee. So I thought it would be a nice moment. We get Brody Lee out there again with Jon as the interim champion, and that was cool. And Claudio, Eddie, a lot of people close to Brody. Of course, Eddie had already stormed off because he was mad at Claudio and Jon. But that was a real cool night. And just a lot of things came together unexpectedly, but I'm really happy with how it all came together. I'm very grateful to New Japan for working with us, and it's been a great partnership, and I think we can do it many times over.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Hey, Tony, so let's talk Cesaro. I kind of want to get some
We talk
ideas. Claudio, excuse me, pardon me. So let's talk Claudio Castagnoli in terms of bringing him into AEW, what the process was like for that, and kind of how you feel adding him to the roster.
Well, I'll be honest. It's a really good question. I'm glad you asked. Thank you. So I asked him about coming in actually before I knew for sure that Brian was out, though I had a pretty good idea that Punk would be out, and I could tell there were going to be a lot of changes. I mean, we already had a lot of injured people. I had no idea we'd have even more on the run up to the show, but I just felt like it was actually the day after the forum, so it would have been June 2nd. I called, and I didn't have interest. There was definitely mutual interest, but at that point, I felt like there was a good chance. I wasn't sure if it would be here or at another thing that actually I'd be interested to talk to you about in a minute. But I wasn't sure if he would be coming in here or Death Before Dishonor, July 23rd on pay-per-view in Lowell, Massachusetts, Ring of Honor's return event on Bleacher Report, our first Ring of Honor event on Bleacher Report. And I'm very excited about that, and thank you to Bleacher Report and Warner Media for working with us to bring Ring of Honor back to pay-per-view after a very successful return at Supercard of Honor. So I figured there was a chance that if Brian made it back, that there was a good chance that probably he would have started at Supercard, he would have started Death Before Dishonor, and it would have been a great moment there. But I think for the crowd here, this is something very special, and as long as Brian's okay, that's the most important thing, and I think he will be fine. And it was great to have a great moment here at Forbidden Door. So things worked out perfectly. So I was very fortunate. I talked to Brian on the phone last weekend, and he told me he just wasn't feeling 100%. And as soon as he said that, I said, like, we're 8 days from the pay-per-view. If you're not feeling 100% today, don't even think about wrestling on the pay-per-view. Don't even think about wrestling at Blood and Guts, because he had been feeling really well. I talked to him in St. Louis on the phone, and he was doing great. And he was so optimistic, and he was like that fired up Bryan Danielson we all know, right? He wanted to go. He was like, I feel great. And he hadn't done anything since Double or Nothing, and he really was optimistic. And then I didn't even want to take another chance as soon as he said that. So he mentioned Claudio, and I said that's funny because I had Claudio under contract. I hadn't told anybody. You're the first person I mentioned it to. So, but I think that's going to work out real nice for all of us. And you're going to be okay, and he's going to do great. And so it worked out. Thank you.
So we had the AEW Interim Championship match going on last spring. We also had the AEW Championship played up the card. So was there ever a question of what the main event was going to be? What was it like working that out with Japan? How did you find it in general negotiating finishes and moving over when putting together this more?
It's a really good question. I as many times now, but now that it's done, I've equated it to like a submarine movie where there's two missile keys. I think being on site, I think I've been like the captain, but I think I've had people working beside me that have had the same key and they can, veto power over stuff. So we put a lot of things in place here and quarterbacked it from here in America. But Ghetto had really valuable input. It's very gratifying to meet him in person because through the pandemic, we built this partnership through our mutual friend, Rocky Romero. Many great wrestlers have come in from New Japan Pro Wrestling, and why don't we pick up from there, and I will introduce you to the IWGP, but when I'll pick up with you and we'll talk at length. Ladies and gentlemen, still the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, Jay White.
Tony, doesn't that sound right? Still the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion.
Sounds pretty good.
Jay White, is somebody going to come and put this up?
Yes. Hey, would one of you guys please assist the champ? Oh, jeez. Look. That's. Thanks.
want you to put it on.
Well, I can't put in this fucking thing.
Face it out. Give you shots. Thanks, Sean.
I'm glad I started using it to you, John. But let me just recap what I've been through tonight. Adam Cole, baby. Cowboy shit. Hangman Adam Page. Rainmaker. Kazuchika Okada. I just beat those 3 men. 3 men that I know a lot of you and everybody watching, and I know even this man considered 3 of the best in the world. I just beat those 3 men in the same night at the same time. I can't even get a little hand to put my IWGP World Heavyweight Championship in its fucking holder. My left arm's dead. I just went through a war and I still came out the champion. All I want is for somebody to.
I'm sorry.
So I appreciate that. It's nothing personal. But on that note of me beating those 3 at the same time, and I've said this before, and I'm going to keep saying this. From now on, when you talk about the greats, you make sure you say my name first. Okay, yes, please, I have questions. If you have questions.
Hi, Jay. Nick Housen with Wrestling Inc. Congratulations on your victory tonight. Do you want to continue to stick around AEW, or would you like to take your title back to New Japan Pro Wrestling now? What's your future look like, Jay?
Well, this seems to be a pretty big if, but if we can have someone that when I come here and I successfully defend my IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, if we can have somebody that can, be prepared to put this up here for me, I'll feel a lot more to come by. So I'm very easily pleased. Obviously, I don't ask a lot. It's just something like that, something like a chair sometimes. So to answer your question, would I like to? I don't know. But will I? I don't know, because this is how it works. I don't have to tell you anything. I don't have to give away anything. When you're the champion, when you're the guy that single-handedly sells out arenas like Madison Square Garden and United Center, you kind of do what you want and show up when you want. So stay tuned, I guess.
Jay Holland from
Oh, I'm sorry. It was nothing personal about this. It's been a big night, and yeah. Go ahead, buddy.
Jay, leadership of the Bullet Club politics, they seem a little.
It's just that I WGP World Heavyweight Champion. It's just, I just want a little hand to put that there.
And they say I'm around.
That's it. Question.
You've got the title, but the title of Bullet Club Supreme Leader perhaps seems a little nebulous, maybe more so after the events of tonight. Can you speak on that?
What does nebulous mean?
Unclear, undefined.
Undefined on who would be the best Bullet Club leader? Is that what you're saying?
Perhaps, yes.
Can you tell me how old I am?
You're not 30 yet.
Thank you. That's good enough. Can you list off the championships of one? Can you do that?
Well, the U.S. IWGP title, World Heavyweight Championship, the previous championship, the IWGP Championship. Several others, I'm sure.
There we go. Intercontinental, IWGP Intercontinental, and then the Never Openweight Championship. That's 5. That makes me the first and only Grand Slam champion in New Japan. Like I said, like you said, not even 30 years old yet. Shit. What's my record against Okada? That's 4-1. What's my record against your guys' favorite Cowboy in singles action 2? Oh, if we add tonight to that, I don't know if we do that or not. That makes it 3-0. So when you're going to talk about best Bullet Club leaders, look at what I have done in such a short amount of time. I haven't even been in wrestling for 10 years yet. And you're going to put a question mark over who the greatest Bullet Club leader is? It's not even just as a Bullet Club leader. I'm the greatest. Full stop. So of course I'm the greatest Bullet Club. Any other questions?
We got one more here.
Sure, we can keep going.
Jay, there are many stars from AEW that could not compete tonight. Tony already mentioned them: CM Punk, Bryan Danielson. Do you have any aspirations of stepping in the ring with big names like that?
I don't. I'm sure they have those aspirations because I am the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. So what would be my motivation for going after someone like Bryan Danielson? CM Punk, fair enough. He has that He hasn't for now, but I guess Moxley could, end up taking that from him. So maybe it would be Mox that I would have to, try and sort out a little dance with at some point. But no, I'm not one of these guys, and I say this time and time again. You obviously haven't heard it because you're asking this question. I don't go out seeking matches, especially any dream matches. That term, it really does make me sick. So that's not something I go out to pursue. Everybody pursues me. Everybody wants to be in the ring with me. Because look what happens. You get in the ring with me, and look, it's sold out. It's sold out Madison Square Garden. I'm the man people want. Oh, that's it. Oh, that was great. Thank you. A little bit of a rough start here with that little championship hold, but we got there.
I'll take partial responsibility for that.
Hey man, I'm sure you got a lot of things to handle. Yeah, I think could have been anybody else here that was sat here doing nothing, and they still didn't want to come and help me.
Sorry about that.
Okay. Thank you. As always, next time. Huh? Thank you.
We're done without that.
We got Jon Moxley coming in.
Great. I want to keep those two crossing paths. Careful on the way out. He's pretty spicy. Okay. Hey, let me jump back in, AJ, and then I'll get you before Mox comes in, if I can, or I'll definitely get to you. Okay. Hey, so back to that. So it was really a cool experience getting into this together. There's probably nobody who could probably elaborate on it better than a person I've spent hundreds of hours on the phone with, who's standing in the back of the room, who also wrestled his ass off tonight and is a huge reason this came together, and that's Rocky Romero, who he's been the person who's done hundreds and hundreds of phone calls and messages in between myself and Ghetto, and with his own ideas, and he's as responsible for this as anybody, and there's no way we would be doing this right now if it wasn't for Rocky Romero, and I just think the world of him. So thank you, Rocky. Appreciate you. It's been a pleasure working with you. It's been a pleasure working with him, and we've worked side by side to help, with Rocky here. He's been able to get feedback from me, ideas. So to your question earlier, before Jay White came in and was pretty rude and stuff, it's been a pleasure. It's been a big challenge, I think, on both sides, because there's been injuries and stuff on both sides. When I finally met Gatto last night, I don't think he minded saying, he came in and he said, "I'm sorry about the thing with Hiromu and some of the challenges." And I said, "I'm sorry about CM Punk and Bryan Danielson not being here." They're like, but I think it's going to work out great. I think we're going to together have one of our best shows for either company. And I think it was. So I'm really proud of what we did. I'm proud of what they did. And we came together and we had a great night. AEW and New Japan. And again, it wouldn't have been possible without you, Rock. So thanks, man. AJ, the champ's here, but I promise I'm going to get to you, okay? But you guys might have questions for him. Ladies and gentlemen, the interim AEW World Champion, Jon Moxley. Got it.
Swallow a lot of blood.
I'm sorry.
Trying to get sponsorship with Athletic Brewing, non-alcoholic beer. Delicious. Oh, yeah.
Thanks. Oh, yeah.
Athletic Brewing, beverage of champions. You know how good that sounds?
Pretty good.
I just mostly just free shit. So, you know how to do it.
Exactly. All right. And with that.
Well, first question. All right. First off, Will Washington, Fightful, congratulations, champ, or interim champ, depending on how you want to look at it. John, you once compared your previous win in Chicago at Winter WrestleMania in Revolution 2020, when you first won the AEW World Championship, to Christmas morning. And here you are now walking out of Chicago again, the AEW Interim World Champion. How does this win compare to your previous win in Chicago?
Life is crazy, man. I can tell you, but just in general, you think like the worst thing in the world happened, and then it turns out to be like years later, you look back on it and say, "Oh, it was a blessing in disguise." Or the best thing in the world happens, and you think this is a big deal, you know, like you're in some relationship, you think you're gonna be together forever. It turns out like that was fucking 5 girlfriends before you actually met the one you're gonna be together with. And, being like, I thought it was a pretty cool deal. Last time I won a championship against Jericho, I switched it up. I thought it seemed at the time like a kind of an end to a particular road or a particular story, but it was just the end of a very particular chapter. It was like a bunch of chapters ago, and this feels like the end of a particular journey that I didn't even realize I was on. Yeah, but there was so it's just another end of another chapter. But it feels like this feels pretty good, because the other, time it was like, oh, okay, I'm pretty hot, and fans are pretty windy, and we're going with this, and here's gonna win the belt. That's pretty cool. It's nice. This feels like this feels like a fucking scratch, like a claw, and fucking getting fought, and not just in the wrestling ring, but in a lot of other areas of life. And this truly does feel like 3 years of fucking work in the ring, outside of the ring, in a bunch of different ways, a bunch of different areas that all seem like somehow all led up to this that we didn't even see coming. Fucking 3 weeks ago or some shit, I don't even know what the fucking card, I don't even get that. I am the fucking forbidden door shit.
You were definitely.
Well, I was not gonna cut that, but like, that's another thing with like, as soon as it was like, okay, it's not a hot show, they're forcing it. And of course, it was supposed to be like the whole time. That was my mess. This is my shit, And I love fucking AEW. I love New Japan. I love professional wrestling, but I love both. And I'm so happy just to, even if I wasn't on that show tonight, it would have been cool to just sit back and go. That's really cool that they were able to have a show together, because it wasn't quite that, there wasn't as much communication as Tony was in a few years ago. But I thought that was stupid. And I was like, these people are cool, these people are cool. That's all just like, can we just, have some communication? So like if next year, I don't even need to be on if we do Forbidden Door next year, I don't even need to be on the show. I'll never like top this. This is like, just that it happened and being a main event. It's just that in itself is crazy. Be able to pull this together. Man, and credit to Tony. I'm not saying that he's sitting here. It's really easy to fantasy book, like you read your PWI in 1998, and it's WWF versus WCW. You'll go, okay, so we're gonna have Goldberg versus Austin, Rock versus Sting, and that's really easy to do. But to actually pull off a show like that with 2 companies, put a card together and make it all work, timing and booking and travel and injury wise, we have to about some injuries and all that shit stuff. To make all that to actually pull that off in reality and pull off the show like was pulled off tonight, it's a huge credit to both sides. It's just credit all around for my job was easy. Everybody else pulled off an incredible show tonight. And to say, I can sit out there fans just like you. Man, I'm so so fortunate to be here and witness this crazy momentous occasion, with all these. In this building, you see Michael Jordan play basketball. I'm sure. Is that right?
Yeah.
I'm sure there are fans watching Michael Jordan play basketball going we have seen something really special, and we're gonna be able to say we saw Jordan live in person in his prime. And how many fans got to see Tanahashi live in person today? and Okada, Suzuki, not-dimensional, counters. It's pretty. This is cool, man. It's pretty good stuff. Here. So to answer your question, it's pretty fucking cool.
Got time for a couple more for Jen.
Hi, John and Steve Muehlhausen from the Zone, and fantastic match tonight. And what's going on, Tony? How are you? Did the match? This is a match you've thought about for a long time. Did it live up to your own expectations?
Oh man, it's just a freaking play. Share the ring. One of the absolute greatest Tanahashi. Like, sounds real, like a generic answer, but just like what a pleasure. Just like it's hard to really put it in words to like my partner Ryan Davis and put this much better than me. It's like the feeling that I think we're wired similarly, and like the feeling is always chasing. It's like that feeling of being in the ring, like when you're doing what you feel like you would put on earth to do, like the absolute pleasure of just being dialed in and doing like what you were here to do. And like the pleasure of just like wrestling. And I've had it taken away from me for various reasons, without, really getting for whatever, either I was hurt or I was in a place that, the situation wasn't optimal or my life at the time wasn't optimal and I could just enjoy wrestling. And it's like, it's such a, what a freak. I was thinking that the other night, I was wrestling on the show, 200 people in Dayton, Ohio. Drove up, great crowd, great show, great match, and just people over, and had this great match, great crowd, whatever. Got in the truck afterward, was just driving home. It was just like, it's such a good, it's going home to my wife and my baby, and like the baby's turning 1, having her birthday the next day. It's just like, drinking one of these, and enjoying listening to UFC playing all the time. Very first time, yeah. And I was just like in such a state of joy. Yeah, it's just like there's no money or ratings, or any bullshit. Like just the act of wrestling that I get to do it. And I was just so glad. Like, I was just like, man, and I was thinking like there's like no fucking drug. And I tried it all. There's no drug that can compare to this, and I get to keep doing this every day, So to answer your question, fuck yeah, what a feeling to just be out there like with Tanahashi, But there was a lot of fucking pressure. I tried to be like, it's all good, like, pretty good at handling that kind of thing now. So I can kind of get that going on. And my confidence is such right now. I feel pretty fucking untouchable right now. Everything just seems to be all coming together, all right at the right time. And I mean, like, you gotta replace, being a hometown guy in his hometown, that's, people can see a hometown guy, not a hometown guy. And you gotta go in there and to make it the greatest of all time, one of the greatest of all time, and be the main event of, like, this amazing show, and you gotta follow all these top of the line, and you're like, what a tough spot to be in, and my dumb ass out there, like, really, I'm in this fucking spot? Like, I don't know. I'm not all that strong or all that fast, and I can't do flips and bullshit, but I try really hard, that's what I did tonight. So, yeah, it was awesome. Good.
Thanks, John.
Good, can we get AJ? AJ has one for the champ. AJ, you get John. You're the last guy.
You earned it.
First off, my name's AJ from the AJ Awesome Show.
Yeah.
With the Back of the Combat Club having new member after new member like Killer Yuga and Claudio, how has it affected your career in a good, in a positive way, or a negative way to have more people surround you?
Oh, it's the best thing. Like, that's another thing. It's just like this Blackpool Combat Club came together, just like this perfect time, and it's just so good for me. And like, it just fits so perfectly. Like, for instance, Claudio. I mean, it wasn't even a question of like he basically already, because it's a real thing, you know. It's not this act we're putting on, you know. He's a real student of Regal. He's a real training partner of mine. Training partner for years. We've all been together. We traveled together a lot. You know, I said like, hey, you know, said something once about like, hey, you gotta bleed together if you're gonna be on my team. I've wrestled Claudio a million times. I've busted him open on multiple occasions. You can go back and watch this shit on Peacock. I knocked his fucking teeth right down his throat for adult braces for 2 years. You know, so we've been there. We've been down the road together. You know, I mean, he's like legitimately like part of the group. And, like, and to have that, like, I want to keep getting better. Like, I feel like right now is also like a jumping off. Like, this feels like the baseline I've been trying to get to, picturing in my mind for like 3 years. And it's all starting to kind of come out. And this is like, so here's the baseline starting off. Imagine how good it could get. And I'm surrounded by guys, you know, I love to train, I love to learn, I love to get better. Try stuff out. I love helping other guys too. You know? So like Wheeler is like a young guy who's more talented than me to use my brain and experience and try to help him get better. And he's a great dude. Otherwise, he would do like that ass. And to have a dude like that to be able to help him, but also have him push me because he's, you know, young and hungry, all that. But also like that Regal who doesn't let anything slide. Right? I've talked to him after this match. He had like 2 or 3 little things that I could have done better. You know, no congratulations or whatever. No, hey, way to win the belt. No, it was like, you know, you could have done like 3 or 4 things. But I like that. I want, you know, I get plenty of congratulations. I don't need that shit. I need help get better. And so he doesn't let anything slide. He keeps me sharp and helps me get better. And having Claudio Bryan, who are like 2 of the greatest. You know, I mean, Bryan in my book, Bryan Danielson is the greatest. You know, people say like Tanahashi is one of the greatest ever. You know, Jericho's the GOAT. You can say all this. You know, just for my money, in my opinion, the greatest professional wrestler to ever live, to ever do it in the ring is Bryan Danielson. And it's crazy because he's my partner. I get to like tag team with him, you know. And also, he's one of my favorite wrestlers ever. Like, my legit, like on my top list of like 2 or 3, 4, whatever. Like, he's in that group of like, oh, my favorite wrestlers to watch ever. And it's almost like there's 2 different. There's like one of my favorite wrestlers to watch, Bryan Danielson, who's like right up there with my all-time favorites, like my heart and stuff. And then there's like Brian, my friend, who's like all eco-friendly and shit. You know? It's like a good father and all this, you know, it's similar to some job. It's almost like 2 separate people. Sometimes I gotta like picture myself out there. Like, I get to team with one of my favorite wrestlers all the time. It's pretty cool, man. So if there's ever a guy that's gonna push you and make you better, like, you can't slack off like you're teaming with a guy that good. You know, you gotta. It pushes me. I want to like be like, oh, I can keep up, right? You know, I can do sometimes. You know? So it makes me want to push myself. And then Claudio, who just has a physical. I mean, I'm convinced he's an alien. Like, there's no way that he's like that strong, that fast, and also he's smart, and he's nice, and he speaks 4 languages, and he's got this perfect, crazy superhero body. Like, there's no way. He's like, it's crazy that he's just his ability in the ring is so good. He's one of the most perfect professional wrestlers that ever exists. So I got him pushing me, and we legit like training. And now to have Claudio here every week, to get in a ring with him before the show, or in the gym, whatever, working on stuff. Like, I think we're all gonna push each other and make each other better. I think years from now, guys in the Blackpool Combat Club are like, holy shit. So, like, with those guys on my side, to answer your question, I think it's gonna be tremendous help to make me hopefully better and reach another level. It's cool, man.
Thank you. Thanks,
How do we get I would like to see, because this is last year, check it out. Do some fantasy. This is fantastic. We got 3 dudes over here. That's our reality. How do we make it happen?
I don't know. You got to talk to the guys in the back. That's different. You're lucky they like you so much in New Japan. If I said that, I don't know. Maybe he works for the LA. He works for the president. Of Noah. Is he not the president of Noah? I think he's the president of Noah. I don't know if that's.
Everybody would love to see that. Gato would love to see that. Who would love to see that?
It could be good. I don't know. I see it. Well, I think maybe some people would want to see it. So one guy can get away with that. One human is
trying to make it happen. Also, yeah, maybe. Also, Eddie Kingston would like to fight Jon.
I would like to do that. I can do that. I'll do that in America.
Akiyama. Hey, Eddie Kingston's looking for you, my friend. If you want to bring Sakuraba too, maybe I'll go with that.
Battle of the Explorer.
Yeah. But most importantly, Akiyama. Eddie's looking for you.
Thanks, Brad.
Hey, we gotta make stuff happen.
Yeah, we did. Put it out. Only one guy could do that. That was great. That is great. Thanks, John. That was awesome. Let's hear it for the champ. Thank you, John. Hey! Oh, my good friend. Thank you very much. Thank you. Chris, you want to sit over here? Okay.
First question. Okada, Rich Fan for Wrestling Torch. Just want to say welcome. And if you can get your thoughts on wrestling in the four-way, I believe that's the first time you wrestled in the four-way for the AEW NJPW title. And so your feelings on that and proud to that.
本日フォーエーマッチだったんですけど、そういうちょっと試合を振り返りに向けて、普通の最多マッチとしてフォーエーなんですか、それはいかがでしょうか。
まず最初に、こういう舞台を用意してくれたトニカ社長もそうですし、AEW の皆さん、AEW のファンの皆さんですね、本当にセンキューベリーマッチと伝えたいですし、フォーエーマッチ、初めてでした。3way は昔やったことあったんですけど、フォーエーマッチ初めてで、自分のね、思うようにいかなかったですし、J. ホワイトに全て持っていかれたんじゃないかと、J のうまさが、強さが目立った試合だったと思います。
Yeah, so first of all, thank you very much to Tony Khan, all the great people here in All Elite Wrestling for the opportunity here today. This was indeed his first four-way and two-ways before, the first time in a four-way. Unfortunately, it didn't go quite the way that Carter had intended, and that, well, says a lot about how good Jay White is and how well planned everything that he did in the ring was here tonight.
Hi, my name is Nick Hausman with WrestlingInc.com. Thank you so much for coming over and on such a great match tonight. I just want to know, how different is it for you performing in this kind of environment? Does the reaction of the crowd throw you at all? I mean, do you find it to be dramatically different than when you perform over in Japan?
まず聞いてくれてありがとうございます。素晴らしい試合ありがとうございます。声援ある大きい会場ですし、なんかそういうちょっと驚きましたか？そういうとこちょっとなりにくかった。
やっぱり驚きましたし、すごい嬉しかったです。やっぱりあれだけのお客さんの中で、歓声もありましたし、これが、日本のプロレスの目指していくとこだと思いますし、いろいろ日本はまだ制限が続いてますけれども、そこに向かってしっかりと、日本は日本のやり方があると思います。また声が出せるように、あんだけのお客さんが集まってもらえるようにということでしっかりと語っていくだけ。
Yeah, so obviously very, very happy to have to perform in front of a hot crowd, and it's more of pleasant, it's a happy feeling rather than a surprise. Really, America is sort of setting the model for how we'd like to be performing in front of our crowds in Japan as well. Obviously, Japan will do it their own way, and it's a softly approach. We'll get there, but hopefully people will see this here tonight and sort of take those little steps and a little step forward to being the way that we want to wrestle.
Thank you.
Hi, Nigel Chambers, Big O Belt Media. Now, there's no doubt you're one of the biggest global stars in all of professional wrestling. But I am very curious to know, what was your reaction when Tony Khan made the call and wanted you to come over here for AEW, not only for here, but for Dynamite as well?
もちろん私は世界中知名度が本当に高いんですけども、トニー・カーン社長が電話してくれて、岡田選手に来てください。それを聞いたらどういう感じですか？
そうですね、やっぱり、今日 AEW として戦って、こんだけの実力つくぐらいの強い選手でしたし、まだ戦ってない選手もいるので、やっぱりそういう選手ともまた戦いたいと思いますし、でも僕やっぱ子供の頃にドアを開けたら閉めなさいっていう母親に言われているので、それをやっぱしっかりと母親の言いつけを守ろうかなと思いますね。
Okay, so yeah, obviously you can see the physical evidence on Okada's face of how tough some of the AEW wrestlers are, and there's plenty of other AEW wrestlers that Okada would like to compete against. But his mom would always say, if you leave the door open, if you live in a barn, you have to shut it. And Okada has to be the one to do that at some point.
Okay, time for a few more.
First off, great match tonight. With there being a language barrier in the ring, with some of the people in the ring speaking English and you speaking Japanese, how does that affect the match?
だいぶ違うやというか、レフェリーなどは英語だったし、それはちょっとやりにくいんですか？なんかで
も、プロレスはもう言語のない戦いだと思うので、その言語は関係ないですし、リング上で戦うだけなので、英語は何も問題ないのかなと思います。僕も、レイク、エイト、レイク知ってるんで、その3つさえ分かれば問題ないのかなと思います。
Yeah, professional wrestling is really a universal language, and once you get there, it's all about the physicality of what happens in the ring. So really, there isn't any particular need to speak any specific language, and as long as Okada knows how to say make it rain, then that's all that matters.
Last question.
Stephen Milhouse here from the Zone and Kazuchika, great match tonight. And you talk about wanting to face other AEW wrestlers. What other AEW wrestlers really pique your interest?
タイの AEW 選手はなんかもし名前をなんか今出したら誰ですか？トニーカン？
Very good.
僕が出すよりもやっぱり
ファンの皆さんにいろいろ想像してもらった方が、やっぱプロレスっていうのは楽しくなると思うんで、相手もが口に出さずに、皆さんが、まあ、なんとなく岡田はこの人と戦いたいんじゃないかなと思ってほしいです。そっちの方が楽しいと思います。
Yeah, so apart from maybe Tony versus Okada, that's a dream match that's sure to happen. The joy of professional wrestling is this two-way communication with the audience, and that's for the fans to decide and start to clamor for and start to whip up encouragement for and speculate. And that's what the fun is for all of you guys and for us as well. So that's what the joy is.
Thank you very much.
18 times. I just got 18. That was the 18th time you told me that. The Manchester
Oh, no. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we have Claudio who'd like to express some thoughts, and then we'll have time for one question for Claudio. So, Claudio, the floor is yours. We'll take a question from right over here.
Table is mine.
George. Claudio, pleasure to see you back in the ring. A lot of fans excited for it. Kevin Kellam, Sportskeeda.com. What was the motivating factor for you to make this leap to All Elite Wrestling?
How long do I have to answer? As long as you sometimes the stars align for a perfect moment, and that's what happened tonight. I hope Brian's right. I know Brian will be back, but it's just a perfect fit. I just talked to Mox. We've been going back 10, 12 years, almost a long time. We used to ride together, we used to work out together, we still do, we talk. It just fits, and at the end of the day, I'm always looking for new challenges. And here in AEW, it's like I'm like a kid in the candy store.
I have one more question.
Oh, awesome. Welcome to AEW, Claudio. Now that you're here, not looking backwards, looking forwards, like you said, you're a kid in the candy shop right now. There are a lot of people in AEW that the fans would like to see you mix it up with. Now, you don't have to give us one name, but is there a short list of people that you in particular are excited to get to share the ring with?
I was so excited to share the ring tonight with Zack Sabre Jr. I wrestled him last time in 2009. There's so many guys that I just known for years. Like, Orange Cassidy, for example. I'm talking about the one that yells and screams all the time like a little kid. It's just, to me, what is most important is fans excitement, right? Who do you want to see wrestle next? That to me was always the important thing. Who's my dream opponent? I don't care. Who do you guys want to see wrestle, right? And here in AEW, all that stuff can happen. People are hurt. Last time I wrestled Kenny Omega was in Ring of Honor, probably 2008. I think we've grown a lot since then. So, that's just worth a mention, you know what I mean? But then, I can just name literally everybody I've run into again, I can probably give you a short list of who I don't want to step in the ring with.
I'd like that list too.
And that is nobody. So, you know what I mean? So to me, it's like I said, I'm a kid in the candy store, and when you go shopping and they tell you, pick whatever, and just there, you're like, I don't know what to pick. I just come in here, and I don't know if you can tell, I'm very happy. And it fits. This is my first night. I always do watching. This is my first night here. I feel like I've been here for years. It's just like it just fits. It's awesome.
One more question.
I would point out to everybody that we are, I think, about 69 hours from Blood and Guts, roughly. We are approaching thank you. Yeah, you have a quick turnaround, and there's not a lot of time. So if anybody does have a question pertaining to Wednesday night, also you have a pretty big match coming up for your Dynamite debut, which I'm very excited about.
So here's the other thing, all right? You always look for a challenge. I mean, Zack Sabre Jr. on Sunday, then Blood and Guts on Wednesday. That's a challenge. That's awesome. And to me, the Blood and Guts, that's like the staple, right? And then to be thrown right in there with, my friends, Sportskeeda, it's amazing. To me, that's what gets you up in the morning, right? That's what makes you work out every day. That's what makes me tick. So I can't wait. It's awesome, and what I love is that show is free TV.
Yeah.
I can't, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, where you get the free TV? It's awesome. So it's like, to me, that's, again, get the candy store.
It's great. We're excited to have you on Wednesday night on TBS, and you saved one of our biggest events we've ever had tonight, and now you're going to save us again on Wednesday, and I think we're all excited to see you on that. It means a lot.
You have a problem, I don't know what else to call it. What's the 18th slogan, man? Oh, it's Swiss.
That's very good. Yeah, is there anything else, John? Okay, well, they really appreciate you coming in and not just doing the press conference, but also being here tonight. It means a lot.
No, thanks. Glad to be here, and I'm super excited for Wednesday, Blood and Guts, and I'm super excited for what's after that, and hell yeah. Claudio is all in. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Awesome, Bob. Want to give a hot tag?
The hot tag.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Congratulations.
I guess it's for this, right?
That is what that's for. Thank you. See, it's not that very, unlike other champions who've had trouble. It's not that hard.
Okay, we got a question right here.
Yeah.
Dr. JD from Office Rep. Nice to see you. Tony, thank you. Two incredible matches back to back. One with Eve, one with Tony Storm tonight. I know everybody's saying, with all the rumors circulating, who's coming here, when they're coming here. I'm not here for that. I know the division you want to build. So after these two great matches, where do you want to take this division and this title?
Well, as I said it before, I would love to be a traveling champion, and as you guys know, it was announced that I will be going to Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling pretty soon in July. So I don't know what the future is gonna hold for me in this aspect, but there's an opportunity to defend the championship or have anybody come from somewhere else. I think that Tony will make it happen, and I know what you're saying, because last week also Taya Valkyrie called me out for AAA for the championship at Reina. So I will take anybody, anytime, anywhere. Plain and simple.
I'm the Rich Van Pro Wrestling Torch. Saw the match, but I wanted you to talk a little bit about the influence of Dustin Rhodes and how he's kind of helped you with you belt on.
He's been with me from day one. The first day that I came here as a non-signed talent, he came in and he saw something in me. He's like, you just got it, girl. Like, you're gonna make a huge change in this division. And he just took me under his wing, and we became really close. I just talked to him like 20 minutes ago, and I was like, just remember, I'm your wrestling daughter, so you're screwed. So he's been very kind to allow me to use some of his moves now. And as you guys saw today, I did his finisher, so I was very, very humbled that he allowed me to do this now. And I owe him a lot, because every night before I wrestle, he always reminds me that I am the best and that I should believe in myself all the time. And he believes in me too. So that says a lot for somebody like him.
First off, great match tonight.
Thank you.
With all the different gear designs and makeup that you've done to the ring, how do you decide what to do on which day?
That's a very good question. So I've been working on this gear for probably about a year. I always tell Tony, I'm gonna top the next year on the next pay-per-view, and I'm gonna top the next one. So it has to do with culture, sometimes it has to do with cosplay. I'm just very creative all the time, and I like to create new stuff. But this one in specific, I really wanted to go for the Aztec Warrior, because like you guys know, I have a tattoo on the side of my leg, and that's an Aztec Warrior with like MMA gloves, like everything at the same time. So I don't know, like I'm already working on the next one. Still don't know what it's gonna be, but I like to keep it very interesting, and also because I would like to have all the toys, right? So I would like to have different special action figures for each cool design. So isn't it a nice way to make some extra money?
There were only a couple times I remember coming to you and saying like I felt real strong, and two in particular were the original St. Patrick's Day Slam.
Yes.
That I felt really strong that if you went out and wore green, we could do something really iconic. And for the beginning, we set out to do something really special there, and you did. And then we went back this year to the St. Patrick's Day Slam, and then the rematch in the cage with Britt for the championship. And again, I felt really strong. Had to wear green again.
Yes.
And I think you do a great job with the designs, but on the St. Patrick's Day Slams, I think they've also been 2 of your very iconic appearances. So that's I just think you do great with it, but also some of them have been associated with big events too.
Question over here. Thunder Rosa, there's another champion in AEW, very outspoken, Jade Cargill, the TDS Women's Champion. She's been saying a lot of things in all different directions in AEW. Some say that she doesn't have the place to say those things. You have a championship. How do you feel about that?
Well, I let her do her thing. She likes to run her mouth. I let her run her mouth. We were raised and brought up in different styles and in different places. She was blessed that she was right there at the right place at the right time. Not like me, but with less time because I had to do a lot of stuff in movies. So if she feels inclined to say what she needs to say, that's fine. Everybody has their own opinion. I respect her. Again, I've said it multiple times. Every time she has stepped in the ring, she has brought something new. She's always working, and if she feels very inclined to go after people, she's gonna do whatever she wants, right? As long as she doesn't get personal with me, I don't have a problem with her. But as soon as she starts getting personal, then we have a problem.
Final question.
Oh, Thunder? Okay, so first of all, I want to know, we waited for such a long time for you to actually become champion, and you finally got this moment, and it was so awesome, so grand. And so I want to ask you, now that you've been champion for quite some time, what would you say is that thing that you have learned about yourself now that you're champion and that you've held the belt?
Wow, it's actually, I saw it on Twitter, it's 100 days. So it just went by fast. Like, I just remember St. Patrick's Day, it was a very special moment. I think it's an uphill battle with yourself. As a champion, you're not only representing the division, but you're also representing the company, right? So it's been quite a journey, and I think I want to thank Tony and Mega for literally holding my hand at some points, because it's been rough, and they always have a lot of support. And when I have boys need of something, they've always been there for me. And when you have support like that, it really means a lot, because like moving the curtain a little bit, we all suffer from different things, family issues, or just like we face a lot of struggles that people don't know. But when you have people like that care for you, not only they help you become a better champion, but they also help you become a better person. And honestly, I can tell you in the last month, they've been such a support for me. And I am very thankful to the AEW family, because they have allowed me to be me, and they have allowed me to accept myself for who I am and present that to the world. Because Tony's never said anything, no, you can't do it plus that, or hey, Thunder, you can't. He's always allowed me to be myself. And I think for a lot of people that have been in the business, they can't say that, So I'm really thankful, Tony, and you know that you have changed the life not only in my family, but the life of a lot of women that are, working with me. And because of what I'm doing right now, I'm allowed to help them, get where they want to be. So I'm working.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks,
Hart is going to join Tony for the last talent of the night, about 10-15 minutes, so then Tony will wrap it up for another 10-15 or so. Try to close it around 12:30.
Uh-oh, they're carrying in a lot of weight.
You're gonna need more.
Hey, John, you're gonna need
some more of those.
multiple guys. Much more mature than Jay White. Well, I'll tell you what, if you want to put the IWGP boys up here, maybe I can carry all of these. I'll put these here for you. All you need are these boys. Put the IWGP. Can we give these guys a hand? Put the IWGP. Yeah, give them a hand. That kind of hand too.
It's not easy having all those trolls, guys. So let's fucking go.
Oh, thank you.
Got all these, huh?
Yeah.
Got all these.
You come over here.
Hey, Claudio Castagnoli. Congratulations, first of all. So you're holding the IWGP belts. Are you going to defend them, and are you willing to defend them overseas?
No, we're not going to defend them. We're going to lose our style. Yeah, the whole dream for us was to come to do AEW, to do New Japan, to be AEW champions, to be IWGP heavyweight tag team champions. And the pandemic kind of, slowed that down for a while. And now things are opening back up. We're getting back out here. Travel is becoming way more easy and accessible for everybody. And yeah, we'll go kick some ass in New Japan.
I think ultimately, the reason we came here is because we love wrestling. I mean, I've said it a million times before, but what I perceive to be God and my wife and daughter and professional wrestling, that's all I've got in my life. And so for me to be able to write down beside my best friend, for me to be able to write our names beside the greatest tag teams of all time and American history, like Barnes and Tully's, and Midnight Express, and the Hart Foundation, and the Bulldogs. Now we can go to Japan and write our names beside the guys like Bigelow and Vader and Hase and Muda and the Steiner brothers, and to be able to do that around the globe, that's pretty cool. That's what we want to do in life and in wrestling.
Hey guys, Rich Van Pro Wrestling Torch. My question is, you both have spoken publicly on the struggles it took to get to this point, and you seem to be missing one set of tag titles. So first, how does it feel to be where you are now in your journey? And second, when are you going to start to make that approach to the AEW tag?
So as we walk up here, you see we're not the prototypical professional wrestlers. We're barely scratching the surface of 5'10". We don't have the greatest bodies in the world. I have a completely authentic Southern accent, and so we're fighting every single obstacle in the realm of what we perceive to be mainstream professional wrestling. And so for us to be able to overcome every single obstacle and be able to be in this position where we're at right now in AEW, to hold these 3 championships, and to possibly be able to fight for the AEW World Tag Team Championship, there's nothing better than that. So we're proud, very proud of where we come from. And I think sometimes fans, some of the fans, not all, not even most of them, but some of the fans can say, "Oh, you should just sit back and collect your checks and I'll stop complaining." But if I stop complaining, man, I can't go home to my 8-year-old daughter and say, "You can be whatever you want." I can't go home to my 8-year-old daughter and say, "You can be the first woman president." You know what I mean? Because if I sit back and just collect a check, then I'm lying to her. Because I'm working hard for her, so she knows that when Daddy leaves every single week, he's going to work so he can take care of Mom and her. You know what I mean? And I've overcome those obstacles to show her that if I can make it here, with fucking hell, man, she can do whatever she wants. Because she's way smarter than me, she's way nicer than me, she's way prettier than me, she's so much of a better person than I am. And now I'm able to do this with my best friend and the fucking. Listen, I've worked and I'm not even kidding. This is a complete shoot. I have worked on a septic truck where I have human shit every single day.
I have worked at Taco Bell where I have put almost human shit on tortillas. I've done every single job possible because I grew up poor. And I work for every single person in the world. I'm not even saying this because sometimes we have our differences. I've never worked for a better human being who cares about me and my family as people in this world. And so now I get to do that here, and on top of that, take care of my wife, and on top of that, get to take care of my daughter, and on top of that, get to say, hey, you are a woman, and you can do whatever the hell you want to do because daddy's doing it, and you're way better than I am. Fuck me, that's the ultimate, you know?
We've both been doing this over half of our lives at this point. And for the past 8 years, I didn't know where it was going to go, but we said to anybody that would listen that we were going to be the best tag team that's ever done this. And for a long time, people laughed at us and thought that we were just these overconfident, undersized, non-bodybuilders that had this inflated ego. And it wasn't. We just wanted to manifest something. We wanted people to believe what we believe. And if I didn't believe the shit that we said, then I never would have made it here. And I don't just say that wrestling gave us the life that we have. It saved my life. And I'll say that every single day. Like, I came from absolute shit. Like, if it wasn't for this, I don't know where I would be, but I know it wouldn't be good. And so to have these, to have this, to be the longest reigning number one contenders in AEW Tag Team Championship history, that means a lot to me.
Not from him.
I said it means a lot to me. But yeah, we've already been AEW Tag Team Champions once, and we just got a little small taste of that. I don't like not having what I perceive to be an FTR run. And when we come out here and we win the AEW Tag Team titles, and we will win them, and we go on a 2-year run, and then we lose our smiles and retire, then we'll say, yeah, we've done it. We're the best to ever do it.
Just kidding, Brett.
I'm not.
Got a question here.
Thank you. Chris Wolfett from the Zone News. In recent weeks, we've seen outstanding singles matches from the both of you, really good matches. Is that a brief look into both your guys' futures, away from all your tag team achievements? Is it something you'd both like to do?
I won't speak for Dax, but for me, I think we're just really good wrestlers in general, singles or tag. And it's, we're unbiased, great professional wrestlers. Dax has always been one of these guys that has slept and breathed professional wrestling to a point that it can be unhealthy at times. But like I said, we work for a guy who lets us be human, lets us be assholes, lets us have our bad days. But at the end of those days, we get to come out here, and whether it's singles, whether it's tag, we get to put on the best version of what we do. And I think that just elevates us completely in everybody's eyes. And I don't want to be a tag team guy or a singles guy. I always want to be a tag team guy. But if we do singles matches, we're going to kill it. If we do tag team matches, we're going to kill it. If you do anything, we're going to kill it.
So as a kid, I mean, a little kid. I mean, June 13th, maybe it was 23rd. 1993 is when I decided I wanted to be a professional wrestler. And I remember praying every single night that God would either allow me to be WCW, ECW, or the other place in Virginia. I remember walking to my friend's house, and there was this long stretch of bushes, and I would fake like I was tagging their hands, and I was hoping. I was like, I hope all these leaves become my fans. Okay, that's what I wanted. That's all I've ever wanted, was to be the best possible professional wrestler in the world. Right now, I want to be the best in the world, and when I retire, I want people to say he's the best. He was the best ever. But if they don't, that's okay, because at least I tried. At least that's what I strive for. That's what I tried to make happen. As far as the singles matches, I'm just very fortunate that Tony was trusting me, trusting both of us into having that, into being able to deliver those matches. But we're on the back end of our career, and we've built a legacy, and we're continuing to build a legacy in tag team wrestling. So why would I start over now as a singles wrestler and build from that? If the opportunity comes up and he gets injured or something, then yeah, I gotta feed my family, so I'll do it. But ultimately, I just want to do good for professional wrestling, and I think doing good for professional wrestling right now is to continue to ride a legacy.
Yeah, how do you remember that date, June 13th, June 23rd? What's that date?
It's
King of the Ring 1993.
King of the Ring.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's great.
There was a guy that
the numbers.
The ring wrestlers that night won the inaugural King of the Ring. I can't remember his name. Right?
That's crazy. That's what it is. That's great.
Will Washington, Fightful. Yes. Good. So the last couple of weeks, this past Wednesday and tonight, you guys have received some of what I call biggest power I've ever had. And a big factor in that is, of course, you guys being one of the best tag teams out there. But
Dude, sorry. Don't say one. Come on. At least lie to us right here.
Okay. But another factor in that has been the change in theme music, which I think last fall a lot of people were a little bit skeptical of, but I would say today, across the board, people have called one of the best themes out there. I have been in crowds where I've seen people going nuts over it, dancing in the stands. How do you guys feel like the music has affected your guys' presentation and you guys?
Yeah, the only person we got to thank for that is Tony. I mean, that was his call, and he called us in his office. He was so excited. He was like, "You guys have to listen to this." And we listened to it, and I can't lie to you. At first, it's like, "Oh my God, that's not what we're used to. You know, we're used to being these badass guys who like come out and fight and stuff." But that. It sounds like I'm kissing his butt. I promise I'm not.
This is the most that you've ever done.
To your face. But that's the things like what they don't understand, what no one understands is like, God dang, like, the word genius is going around, but it really is freaking smart when it comes to wrestling. I mean, in life in general, it's smart. But like,
no, the first part means more coming from you. It means a lot coming from you, especially considering who I pulled the music from. You probably would be the first to say. I grew up on that.
But he really is I can think of tackle, drop down, leapfrog, and lock up and stuff like that. He can think broader than that. And sometimes it makes me mad, you know, because I'm like, oh God, I'm supposed to be the professional. I'm supposed to be a professional. And he takes it to another level. And so he played this music for us, and he was so hyped, and it was cool music. I was like, I don't know if that's us. Damn, it's not us. And that, yeah, you're right. That has helped our crowd. I think like our rainbow attire and what we want to present out there. I think his mullet or mustache. And I also think the style of wrestling we bring to it, I think it all just came together at once, and the universe provided it for us. And I think it's manifested itself into making us some pretty good baby faces.
I think 99% of it's just the two of you guys, and less than 1% of it is that, and another piece of it that is, 99% of it is down to the two of you, but one person is not here tonight. But I've seen you become a more confident and better wrestler since CM Punk went through that door. I've seen you both take it to another level as his partner and backstage and talking to him, and I've watched you get more switched on, and I've watched you take it from being one of the best wrestlers in the world, true, like on from the highest platform to somehow an even higher platform. And the two of you guys have taken it to another level. And particularly, I've watched you get mentally switched on in a totally different way. And Dan, you've always been there, and as a team, you've always been there. But now as a third, you have a third guy with you, and it's really strong. It would have been a very different build to this pay-per-view. We still had one of the greatest things I've ever been a part of in my life. But I think, like I said, 99% of it's down to you guys, and then there's all these other factors, music, and I think Phil has been a very positive influence on both of you.
I think just to kind of sum it all up is that there was nothing like, there wasn't a roadmap to how we were going to get here. We all just, Dave and I, Dax and I, David and I decided we wanted to just make as much fun as we could with the rest of what we're going to be doing, because we don't know how long we're going to be doing this. And that kind of started the snowball. And then just small things here and there, Punk's arrival, Tony having this idea to switch to music. And like, when I heard the music, I loved it, but I go straight to my mind. I'm like, how do I walk out to this? And I'm trying to picture it. I'm like, it's great music, but I don't know how to be this. But you don't have to now. Like, it's just kind of one of those things where you hit it, and like everybody's kind of moves however they feel individually. And like, it's just been one of those things where everything just kind of fallen into place, and it's been so serendipitous that it's almost comical, but it has. Like, it's peaked to right here. Like this has kind of all just been one wild and crazy coincidence.
Dean drove me over here today, and while Dean and I were sitting in the car, I was sitting in shotgun, and I played it on my phone in the car with him. And I showed him a tweak I made, like, because if you the track, I think that's on iTunes, there's like a cut about 45 seconds in, because there's like Mikey had it go up, put like a little interlude between the core, kind of what I call the hook, and like it kind of goes up and then it goes back down. I was like, on TV, I don't have 4 seconds, Mikey. You got to go right back to it. And so the TV version, I think there's like a 4. But I love it so much, and it was just one of those things. One day I was just a light bulb, and I was like, "This is what we need. This is what we need." The frogs. This is what the frogs.
Just real quick, when he called us into his office, like I said, I'd already heard it once because he hadn't made it there yet, and I loved it. But I'm trying to again, all about visualization for me. I'm a very visual guy, so I have to picture it, and I'm trying to picture it. And he's playing it now, and Dave's in there, and Tony's just jamming the fuck out, dude. And it's like, okay, everybody's gonna be doing this. So just let's everybody just feel like Tony feels right now. Let's go. And look at it. It's just been the best change possible.
One more minute, and then I know you guys.
We were good on time. We have time. These guys love
fly out 5 hours.
but I want to go off something Tony said about Punk being here and helping us out and helping. So I've been very open about my mental struggles and my anxiety. Man, I went through a really tough time with anxiety just last year, almost to the day right now last year, and it almost completely broke me. And then on top of that,
when we went back on the road, you were having a tough time.
Tough time. I've never ever been that vulnerable and that scared in my entire life. And as a 37-year-old Southern male, that doesn't happen, and it did happen. And then on top of that, and on top of that, I almost watched my best friend bleed out, from his injury. And so those two things combined, we just knew, like you said, we had to have fun. But with Punk being here, I don't care what anyone says, and I don't care if you say he's a WWE guy or we're deviating away from AEW, because he is here to make AEW better, and he's here to make us better. He has helped me through my anxiety, man, and that shows you the human being he is, because he'll take time for me to say, hey, come with me, let's have some coffee, or let's watch some wrestling, and he'll talk me through the stuff. And I've come out on, thank God, I've come out on the other side of anxiety, and I owe a lot of it. I owe a lot of it to both these guys. This man gave me time off when I needed it, and this man talked to me every single day and almost fought people for me. But also on top of that, Punk is a great human being and a great addition to our roster, so we're lucky to have him. Sorry.
Here's the last question for FTR, and then we'll wrap up for a few questions from Tony. Thanks. Hey guys, JD from the Office Rep Podcast. I want to ask you guys about the Owen Hart match that you guys had for the Foundation match. The preparation for that match. How many Brett and Owen matches did you guys actually watch? And how did you decide on what you wanted to do as far as the sequences in that match? And guys, this question is for you. A lot of online chatter about you possibly being Wrestler of the Year, what you've worked this year. How do you feel about
He is Wrestler of the Year.
I agree.
So I understand what you're getting to as far as the Brett and Owen matches. And I saw a couple of people tweet about it and say, "Oh man, they did a rehash." No, I have done a rehash for the last 18 years of my career with Bret Hart. You know what I'm saying? And so it wasn't that we tried to, because I saw the tweet and it was like
7 different matches.
It was literally 6 or 7 matches with Bret Hart, and they were like, "Oh, watch this and this." I took a front turnbuckle. And they were like, "Oh, that was just like the Owen and Brett match."
Brett took a German suplex before.
Oh, yeah, German suplex. No, it wasn't. I just love wrestling. God damn, I love wrestling. I love it, and I watch it every single day. There's not a day that goes by I don't watch wrestling. So yeah, if I accidentally subconsciously steal something from the match, man, my bad. I apologize for being a wrestling fan above everything else. That's my fault. Okay, not anybody else's fault. But I didn't. The one thing we stole, I guess, from the Bret Owen match was the victory roll, because people thought that was going to be the finish, and we wanted to trick you guys. That's it. Other than that, we just wanted to work. We didn't call anything. We went out there and we freaking worked, and we reacted off of each other. And that's what the beauty of professional wrestling is emotion and reaction and physicality and storytelling. And that's what we did.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't sit down and watch one match and say, okay, we got to do this while, you know, doing my little deal. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, but so I'm doing my little deal at home. No, I just love wrestling and I know what makes people feel. And that's all we wanted to do was make them feel. As far as being wrestler of the year, that's pretty cool. It would be really, really crazy if somehow at the end of 2022, I became wrestler of the year. We became tag team of the year, and we had match of the year with either Briscoes or Bucks. That would be great.
Or whoever's coming up for the next 6 months or so.
Yeah, that would be great. Well, sorry to take that.
Anybody in wrestling worth their salt in the business that has studied it and wanted to be this for a long time and didn't just come from anywhere else to get paid, like they're influenced by somebody. And yes, we're influenced by the Hearts, we're influenced by Eddie, we're influenced by the Midnights, we're influenced by Arn and Tully. We take bits from everybody. Everybody in wrestling today that's successful at a certain level is probably borrowed from somebody or been influenced by somebody, and you see that reflected in their work. Like one or two things, yes, purposely taken from WrestleMania 10. Everything else just happenstance because these guys have helped shape our careers and our lives, and everything that we've done has been around professional wrestling and professional wrestlers. And those guys are professional wrestlers. Like everybody else, like I can take anything from a sports entertainer, I can take anything from an actor, or this or that. But when it comes to the actual in-ring aspect of it, I'm gonna model myself after the absolute best people that's ever done this because I want to be up there in that echelon. So like for our match, there wasn't any different preparation. There wasn't any different tape studying. It was just, okay, what's the story we want to tell? How do we do this and pay our ultimate respect to Owen? How do we just go out there and have this match without compromising what FTR is? I think that was the only goal we had.
And one more minute.
Keep it rolling.
We also wanted this match. We wanted this match when people fought at the Owen Hart tournament. We wanted them to think, oh yeah, that's the catch. That's what we done. Also, you know, to go on the studying the tapes and stuff, you got to understand, a lot of guys who were incredible wrestlers made a lot of money from the end of the 90s up until right now. So there's a gap where we missed out, not just us, but like our generation of wrestlers missed out on the legends of wrestling. Think about this. Ole Anderson wrestled for 20 years, 20, 25 years, 30 years. And Eddie Graham, the same thing, but then he went to booking because they needed to make money for years. So they got to work with all these different generations of guys. Our generation didn't get that. So we didn't get that. I mean, rest in peace, not anything, but like the Eddie Guerreros, we didn't get to work with him. And Steve Austin's and Rocks and stuff. We didn't get to work with them because they made so much money, so they were able to get out. The only way that we can learn now is by studying, because we can't work with them. I can't work with them and lock up with Steve Austin and say, okay, slow down, kid. I can't. So I have to watch and study him and say, okay, why does he slow down? Why do they do this? Why does Bret Hart take a headline take over here and they sit here for a second? Or why does Bret Hart sell? You know what I'm saying? So that's how we have to learn. Our generation is to learn. So if we accidentally take something from a match you see, it's our bad. But that's why that's how we learn. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Anybody would help carry all this?
We can get you a hand.
I got it.
You guys got it?
Far more mature than the other IWGP heavyweight champion was. Hey, thank you. Thank you guys. Okay.
We've got 15 or 20 minutes here for Tony. Let's try to get as many questions as possible. Make your questions as short and concise so Tony can answer them.
So I can do a full 15, 20 minutes. Again, this is highly unusual. We've never done it. I feel like Larry Sanders on his 8th anniversary special. I've never done this before. John, give me a non-alcoholic beer. Do you guys mind if I wait? We can run real wrestling real quick and come right back.
Yes.
Thank you.
Just the way you get it, right?
Yeah. Let's go on with close my mind.
AEW champion, the tag team champion. We heard from a little bit of everyone from Claudio Castagnoli. They're taking a little bit of a break. Tony Khan will be back to resume the media scrum, but a lot of information tonight, right, Jeremy?
Yeah, definitely a lot of cool stuff. It looks like the FTR's got their sights set on the Young Bucks possibly at All Out. That was pretty cool to see. Claudio looking to wrestle anybody and everybody. I think possibly it was kind of cool to see Dax share his thoughts about working many jobs before really breaking it big. Nobody really asked about his shoulder, though. I don't know if that was more of a kayfabe thing or if they were just working that. I don't know. But we did get some breaking news from Brian Alvarez at the Wrestling Observer that Adam Cole is believed to have suffered a concussion, which is what is the deal there. Of course, he's dealing with a lot of stuff now. I think this is a good time to say, Adam, take a few months off and come back healthy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he did not look good at the end of that IWGP Heavyweight Championship match. So hopefully it's not too serious. We'll just have to wait and see, and I'm sure we'll get some more updates in the days to come here. But let's kind of resume a little bit where we were at. Oh, it looks like Tony is coming back. So we will resume with the media scrum.
We're going to start here at 20 minutes here for Tony. Start here with Nick.
There's the 8th anniversary of RJ City. RJ City watching Toronto. Hey, you want?
No, hey. Are you? Okay. Hey, welcome back. Hey, thanks. All right, so now do Chambers Big O Well Media. So you own AEW, you own ROH. Wondering, you mentioned Forbidden Door 2, or maybe an All In 2. Where are you going with either one of those possibly?
Did I mention an All In 2?
I don't know, maybe.
Well, now with the acquisition of the ROH library and the ROH promotion, that is video footage that is now a trademark part. So it's definitely something that I am open to in the future. The biggest event in AEW history is All Out. I think I will get into that. I can get into that. Raph, I don't know if you want to. We've said September 4th.
September 4th. We'll have an announcement after July for the holiday.
We just got into Grand Slam. I think announcing Grand Slam at Arthur Ashe tonight. September 21st, Raph?
September 21st, Wednesday, December 21st. Tickets go on sale July 22nd.
Yep, and I just made the announcement. I just started the press conference about Ring of Honor, since you asked so nicely. July 23rd, we come back, Lowell, Massachusetts.
Yes.
And very excited about that. That'll be great for Death Before Dishonor. Very excited. You saw the champs here. We'll see. They'll probably defend the titles between now and then, I'd imagine, and we'll see where they're at coming into there. And a lot of other great champions in Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor pure champion Wheeler Yuta is actually defending the title on AEW Dark on Tuesday night, leading into Blood and Guts. It's a bold move going into Blood and Guts, so it's going to be Wheeler Yuta against Tony Nese, who had a Pure Rules match last week. That's going to be a great match, I think, on Tuesday night. Really excited about Wednesday night Blood and Guts. I think for Ring of Honor, a lot of great wrestlers in AEW with great backgrounds in Ring of Honor we've seen. There's a lot of great opportunities, but I'm really excited to bring that promotion back with Death Before Dishonor, and we'll see where that takes us.
They'll be at the UMass Lowell Soccer Center, and that will go on sale July 8th. It's Saturday, July 23rd.
Got a question over there?
Cool, thank you.
Hi, Tony. Nick Hausman, Wrestling Inc. How are you doing?
Good, Nick. Hey, thank you. I'm doing well. Thanks. It's great. It's a hometown show for us.
I know, right? We're going to be home in 20 minutes. My question was about somebody that fans are still talking about that we haven't seen on AEW TV since his bombshell promo. That's MJF. Is MJF still with AEW? Like, what is his status with the company right now?
I am, especially after the great show we did. I'm not going to comment on it, but it's a fair question to ask. But I'm not going to cover that one right now. Thanks, Nick. Do you have another question you want to ask?
Yeah, I would actually.
Sure. No, I didn't want you to waste up your question. Let me give let's follow up next. Sure, it's okay. What is it?
I need a
Sorry.
Sorry, I know.
Thanks.
The other thing is I'm going to bring a little bit of the real world into this right now. Another non-forbidden door question, but obviously on Friday there was a big Supreme Court ruling. The big topic of conversation is if employers are going to be paying for women under their employee to be going across state lines to get abortions if the situation does arise. Is that something that you would be willing to do for female members of the roster or people that are under your employee?
Hasn't come up. I don't know. It's just that situation hasn't come up, and honestly, that since last Friday we've been working on Forbidden Door almost nonstop. So I that situation has never come up. So I can't say. But sorry not to answer either of your questions. Then.
Thanks, Tony. It seems like you've got a ready-made feud between Moxley and CM Punk when he returns from injury. Was there any temptation to use CM Punk tonight to push that feud forward?
Well, I think it made a lot of sense with his just coming off surgery very recently for him at home recovering. I thought it would be good for him to have a chance at home to recover. I didn't think it would make sense for him to come out and get physically involved in anything coming just off surgery. So that's really my call. I think it doesn't make any sense for CM Punk to come in here injured on just a couple weeks off an important surgery that is important for the whole company. Absolutely, we have something down the line now with a potential interim title match. Mox is going to defend the interim championship between now and then. So it certainly as it stands right now, it would be CM Punk versus Jon Moxley for the undisputed AEW championship in a unification match. Chris, I know you know very well, as somebody who covers for his own boxing and mixed martial arts and fighting, the idea of the interim championship and what it means. But obviously, when there's a champion who's had surgery, it means potentially some time off. I think it makes a lot of sense with us having a weekly television show to have a great interim champion defend the title between now and then. So I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that it's going to be Punk versus Moxley, but I do think we know that Moxley is the interim champion, first ever interim AEW World Champion, and presents a very interesting matchup possibility on the line. But I also think there's a lot of really exciting matchups for Mox as the interim World Champion on Dynamite and Rampage and potentially other places. So I'm really excited for John as the interim World Champion. And it feels like it was a long time ago because we've had a lot of people come through that not so forbidden door today to speak to you all. But when John was up here, it was cool sitting up here with him, and it means a lot to me and I think a lot of other people that he's back and see him like this. It's awesome.
Thank you.
When I was in front of a lot of you before. Thank you for coming over. Hi, AJ.
Hello. First off, great show tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
And my question is going to be about Ring of Honor, and has there been any plans backstage to start a weekly show for Ring of Honor?
That is one of the most relevant and best questions. There's been a lot of conversations about it, but it takes 2 to tango, so as they say. So that I would love to provide that, or present that content. I think it's right now we've got this great new management team at Warner Brothers Discovery, and they are really, really strong management, and they're great. And I've had really good interactions and meetings with them, and I think there's a lot of projects at AEW they're very excited about, and I have been talking to them about that, and also had conversations about now Ring of Honor TV with the new bosses of Warner Brothers Discovery, which is the largest creator of content in the world. And it's really exciting to have that as our media partner. And in the pro wrestling space, with Ring of Honor now, I was really very eager to keep some of the momentum we built with Death Before Dishonor coming now. Some of the momentum we built with Supercard of Honor, because it was one of the most successful Ring of Honor pay-per-views ever, certainly the most successful in several years. And it would be probably on the top 3 Ring of Honor events in terms of generating revenue in 20 years, over 20 years now, Ring of Honor. And so I wanted to keep that momentum going, really have something. So even though we aren't ready to launch the weekly TV show by July 23rd, on July 23rd, we are going to come back on pay-per-view with that before Dishonor. I'm really excited about the card. And we have great champions in Ring of Honor now. So there's interesting things coming out of Super Card of Honor and things that have happened on AEW TV since Super Card of Honor. And whether it was Dynamite or Rampage, and also Battle of the Belts, where the Ring of Honor World title was defended. We see the world champion Jonathan Gresham, he defended it there against Dalton Castle, and then he was on Rampage this week. The pure champion Wheeler Yuta was on the show tonight, and will be in Blood and Guts, and also he's going to defend the title against Tony Nese between now and then. And we've got, of course, Mercedes Martinez. We've seen her also teaming with Serena Deeb, which is kind of interesting lately. And a number of other Ring of Honor stars. We saw Tully Blanchard bring his group in. Samoa Joe and Jay Lethal have a long-standing rivalry, which is pretty interesting because Samoa Joe is the Ring of Honor World Television Champion, and Jay Lethal's the longest-reigning Ring of Honor World Television Champion ever. And that's a rivalry that goes back to our first Ring of Honor show. So there's a lot of cool things that have been happening in Ring of Honor and will happen in Ring of Honor. I really am hopeful and optimistic that we are going to get weekly TV back, like you asked. But the next step is definitely July 23rd for Ring of Honor on Death Before Dishonor. Thanks.
Hey, Tony. Nick Philwalk, USA Today, Wrestling Junkie. You mentioned earlier in the week that you've at least pondered the idea of a two-night show because of all the talent that you have on the roster. And also, I think fans like the fantasy book stadium show for you guys, like a football stadium, really large venue. Now that you've successfully pulled off from indoor once, do you feel like this could be the event that could go in one of those directions, like a two-night show? Could it be bigger?
I think there's always possibilities for growth, and that's one of the really great things about our business has been the year-over-year pay-per-view growth. Every franchise we've ever had has grown year-over-year. So Double or Nothing, All Out, Revolution, and Full Gear, all of them have had year-over-year growth. And we've done 4 Double or Nothing now and 3 of All Out, Full Gear, and Revolution. All of them have gone year-over-year. And so now with our kind of baseline we've set for this, I hope we can continue that trend also with our partnership with New Japan and have Forbidden Door go up year after year, and that would be great for us. People always ask me what my 5-year plan is, and I'm really happy. I think if we can give the wrestling fans Dynamite and Rampage and keep strong TV for the fans, and then obviously with Ring of Honor, I was just talking about that. I think there's opportunities there for us. I don't know. I think it's a huge show now, but success would be growing it year over year. And in terms of live attendance, this was a great live attendance. I mean, it's hard to beat this, but also growing pay-per-view business year over year, expanding. We're in 130 countries, AEW now around the world. New Japan is in a lot of the same countries. We actually present our TV and streaming in New Japan through New Japan World. And I think just growing this business year over year would be big success, just like we've had with our other pay-per-view franchises. Thank you.
Hi, Dominique Pascal from Montreal TV Sports. Just wanted to see if you have any update on the Adam Cole and what happened at the end of the match.
Yeah, I think Adam Cole will be okay, and I think he was in the match, and it was a very physical wrestling match, and he was pinned in the match, and the timing of it wasn't. It may not have looked when people expected it to happen, but that's when it happened, and he's going to be okay long term. But probably if he couldn't continue wrestling, it made sense for that to, I think if you can't keep fighting, there's discretion is a better part of valor. So I think long term will be okay. Thanks.
Tony, I wrote that a great match today. I know coming into the match that Tony had a lot of doing for the time to start. Was there any interest in bringing anybody to start?
Yes, I was interested in that, and there was, to be honest, the people from Stardom. I was interested in using Stardom. They have obviously a close relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling being aligned, and all the wrestlers from Stardom were pretty much booked, and they didn't have visas. So it was a big obstacle, and I think there is definitely potential there. Certainly, Tony is one of the hottest rising stars in AEW since she arrived in AEW, and I thought it made great sense. She's been a champion in Japan. She's got great experience with Stardom, and also somebody who's been on our TV and it was a great match we could build to. And it was not a blood rivalry where they hate each other, but it was for mutual respect, and it was fought fittingly enough. You just asked me about Ring of Honor, fought with honor, and it was a great wrestling match. And I think that was cool, and it made it different from some of the other blood feuds on the card, where it was, where you see Jericho and Eddie that want to rip each other's head off, or where you had Mox and Tana, where it had been building for years and years, where it was clearly going to be the two of them someday on the big stage. This is different, but it was a rivalry out of respect. And so I thought Tony was a perfect choice, given who was on our TV, who was pushed, and also knowing that, while it would have been another challenge in addition to many other challenges to take people from Stardom and get them over on our TV, I think it was possible to do it, absolutely. But the availability is the greatest ability of all in this business and most businesses, and in this case, there was no availability. So Tony was, for many reasons, I thought a great choice, and I thought Tony and Rosa had a great match. Thank you. Thanks. Here.
Hey, John, Rich Van, QFB Torch. Quick question. On Friday, and then even started prior to the press conference from, and you ended tonight with Bennet about the idea of trust. And what happens when we lose trust, gain trust, things like that. Like Sean mentioned in the ESPN article, these guys tonight, the talent, mentioned how much you trust them and you think either in the ring or outside. How do they build that with you and then actually build your roster? How do folks still stay accessible to you and you not go crazy?
Well, it's a great question. I think for people who are really experienced in wrestling, Claudio, we never worked together before tonight, but with Claudio, based on his reputation and coming in, he's not somebody you necessarily need to put through any kind of developmental. And we've used AEW Dark for people we don't know that well. JJ's in the back. JJ's been seeing dozens and dozens of hours of AEW Dark live in Orlando, and there's other people here I know that have come. Occasionally the tapings in Orlando, but before that, for over a year, we operated out of Daly's place, and that operated really as a true developmental system. And there's a lot of people, like including the Acclaim, who were singles wrestlers. Pat Buck trained them, and Pat Buck was working in WWE at the time, and they actually tried to get them to go up there. And I really wanted them to both stay, and it kind of forced my hand when they were threatening to go. And I was like, I like them both. I really need to do something to keep them. I had the idea of the Acclaim for a long time. I saw Max rapping on Twitter. They were very capable on Dark. And then they got, if you remember, their first match was against Trent and Chuck, and it was like a tryout match with the new gimmick. The music was a little different. It was loud. It didn't quite, but it was enough. I saw enough there. I was like, okay, we're gonna. And then they went on probably like a 10-match winning streak after that. I think winning matches on Dark, building up to build a record and building experience. And that was there. And the entrance got better and better. Max, it really only I think I only seen you rapping on Twitter. And on social media. I've never seen you as the entrance. So that was a new thing we put in. The idea of them as a team, even though they trained together. And so that's a really good example. Red Velvet's somebody who came in and was working on AEW Dark, and has come in and become a really important part of our TV. Like story of my June. Also somebody who got injured, and it's been a huge part of the TV recently. It's been out with an injury, which is unfortunate. In that match she had with Chris, which was a great match on Rampage, Statlander and Red Velvet. We got a lot of great matches, and then unfortunately had injured people coming out of them, which is sometimes the price people pay with these great hard-hitting matches. And Red Velvet's another example, like Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, both separately and then put together as a tag team, maturing on that stage. Powerhouse Hobbs, Will Hobbs, and look how far he's come from when he started on AEW Dark, not as a person who was out there winning matches, and a person who grew as a wrestler and has grown as a person and a presence here in the company. A number of other people. So there's for people we don't know as well, someone's going through Dark, -1, Bill Brody, through working on Dark, and he's done a lot of fun stuff. He's had fun matches down there. JJ's laughing in the back because he's seen some of the funniest stuff he's seen in his life with Lil Brody, and the kid's he was 10 years old and he's making hundreds of people, not 15,000, but hundreds of people laugh in the studio. That's pretty good for 10 years old. And so here I'm trust enough where I gave him a mic and put him out there with some of his friends and some of his dad's close friends like Mox and Claudio, and Eddie wasn't out there at that point, but Eddie would be another person on that list. And it was just a nice thing for the crowd, and I wanted to get him out there. I thought it was cool. And I thought, because Mox, I remember Mox's first pay-per-view defense of the title when he first won. The title was against Brody Senior, so I just thought of it. And that was probably the last time I've been as proud of a show that had as many challenges. It had the most challenges of any show ever. I could talk for hours about the 3-week build and putting that together during those tape shows, and also learning how to edit shows. We never taped Dynamite before that. So that probably April 2020 was, and then into May 2020 is probably the last time I felt this way, where it really came together, or that it could have not gone as well. So yeah, does that make sense? Yeah. Thanks, man.
Got time for 2 more questions. Great. Just one.
Tony, I want to talk about Orange Cassidy today. Match of the year potentially with Will Ospreay. I'm a big Orange Cassidy guy. What was your reaction when that match was over? Match of the night to me. And reportedly, Orange Cassidy was supposed to get new theme music. I read somewhere today. We didn't hear that tonight. It's a huge part of the wrestling's package. Is that something that you decide on specifically, or is it something that you work with?
Yeah, I decide on the music, but that is this when I presented this song to him. So I pick a lot of the music and work with Mikey on who's going to have what songs. I license music from outside sometimes, and generally I'm in charge of the music with Mikey, who oversees it and does an amazing job and has composed some amazing themes. But I work hand in hand with him on that stuff. Just like we talked about when I had a concept for the FTR theme, and they were in here, or Samoa Joe's, or even Adam Cole's. And Mikey's composed all these great themes. We have a good partnership going. And in this case, that's music that Orange Cassidy had used, the theme that is being rumored on the internet for a long time. It's also why, unfortunately, like I love the people backstage, and like you know what's cool? There were like, I was just talking about Brody. I didn't mean to keep going to it, but there were like 100 people sitting in the stands in Daly's place when Amanda told us Brody was sick. I know there's a lot of new people here since then. There were a lot of people here, and a lot of them were the same people, even though there's a lot of new faces, and nobody said a word. So when it's something life or death, you can trust the people backstage. But I've learned that like around like a lot of stuff is legal. Like it's like really shameful, and like people shouldn't be doing it. And that's one of those ones where it like screwed up what would have been maybe a pop, but also it would just still be a huge pop. I mean, these things are organic, so you can't make that night. It's going to be a huge pop if that happens. But like the fact that like it even came up is dumb. And like I said to Sean, which is like I was like, okay, I mean, if you're going to report it, I was surprised to read it because I was like, I wonder why somebody leaked that, because like all it does is screw up a fun surprise for the fans. But it's like I told Sean, I was like, we don't even have 100. I have, as I understand it, 97.5% of the rights. In this case, that's 0. I mean, like I might as well have 0. Like we're real close. I've been told by the 2.5% right holder that they're going to get back to us, and it seems like it'll probably happen. But like the fact that I'm even having to explain this, I think is ridiculous, and it's because somebody in the back like shouldn't have said what they said, and then I was surprised. I like Sean, but I was surprised to see that, and I told him, and I was like, because it's not true, and I never even got a chance to refute it, and like. I know Orange said he was going to have something new, but technically that's not even something new. I think he meant the belt. So, like, which he, came damn close to winning. And like I said to the announcers, they did a great job integrating. Orange Cassidy is one of our best, most marketable stars. He's with people of all ages love him. And on digital, when you look at AEW most watched digital videos on the YouTube channel, like probably 6 or 7 out of the top 10 involved in. And he's also a really awesome person. So if it does happen, if we do get that 100%, I'll be really happy because that's something he brought to the table before he was here. There's been, he's the AEW version of Orange Cassidy has really risen to prominence, and he was already a beloved independent star, but I think his presentation and what he's become here is very different. And I think people respect and understand he really is a great pro wrestler and fun with gimmicks. And now I really believe that tonight he would tear the house down in Chicago like he did with Pac in his very first singles match, which we spent over 6 months. I guess not quite 6 months. We were over 5 months of TV, 5 months of TV building to that, plus the pay-per-views before that. So over 6 months really building up Orange Cassidy since All Out. That he never worked a singles match. So they had that match with Pac and they tore the house down. Also unrelated, what a night for Pac, right? Like awesome for those two. And back in Chicago, I thought they both had, even though Pac won the title, and Orange didn't. They had one of the best matches in the history of the company in Revolution 2020, and I was so happy. So you asked me about my reaction tonight. It was very similar to that, but now people weren't surprised because in Revolution 2020, people were like, they knew. I think people were interested in the match, and it was like there was a lot of interest in the match, but I don't think people had the expectations yet of what he does. Now there's big expectations on his matches, and it delivered. And no surprise to me. I believe in him so much. I'm just really grateful he's back. It's a good time for us to get him back. So thanks for asking.
Last question, if you're not on
I'm going last. All right. So you talking about Claudio earlier mentioned that when you talked to Brian, you revealed to him that Claudio was already under contract. So that says to me that you already had kind of creative plans for Claudio that maybe got, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but that maybe got sidetracked a little bit.
Well, I did. I had 2 plans, and what I was saying was I called him the day after Punk got hurt, and Brian was optimistic that he would be back, but I wasn't 100% sure. So there were a couple ways this could have gone, but certainly the idea that he might be at Forbidden Door and definitely crossed it came up. But it wasn't. But I think we were all hoping Brian was going to be here.
So I guess going more forward with my question and talking about some of the challenges you encountered with Forbidden Door, with Punk getting hurt, with Brian getting hurt, and just a lot of the creative changes that have had to take place. My question is more so about your overall booking philosophy and how much things may have changed over the last really year for you. In that one of the things that AEW was really known for in the beginning was kind of long-term booking, and that's something that was very much committed. Whereas these days, you almost circumstantially can't do a lot of that, and there's been a lot of we get more announcements of matches like the day of Dynamite, for example, that we didn't get back the earlier. We used to end a Dynamite kind of knowing every match that was going into the following week. Do you feel like your booking philosophy has had to change a lot in the last year or so with things that have gone on, and how do you feel you can sustain that moving forward?
Yeah, I think it's a really good question, and I think it changed a lot when we went back on tour. Partially, one of the reasons that you used to know everything going in was because we would tape it the next day. So that wasn't like weren't active. I think to most of the people who'd be watching this, people might have had an idea, but during the pandemic, when we were in Daly's place, it was live on Wednesday, and then we were taped on Thursday. So it was a very different cadence and style. And then also Thursday, like I would have had 12 days to put everything together by the time of the next show. So it was different, and it was really great. But what happened was the roster grew a lot in that time. We went back on the road. We continued to expand, and within basically when we went back on the road, that's when I knew as soon as the fans were back, I'd been sitting on this opportunity that really CM Punk wanted to come back to wrestling, wrestle for AEW when the fans came back. It was just a matter of when we go back on the road. And then once that happened, he and I got really serious. And then all of a sudden, Bryan Danielson and Adam Cole were up, and that led to All Out 2021. It's crazy that at the end of the summer, it would be a year since that, but it's right now is a year that we've been back on the road this week. Blood and Guts represents about a year back on the road almost exactly. And it's been challenging with all the injuries, but I still look to long-term solutions, long-term ideas, long-term thoughts. And if you look like Moxley and Tanahashi, even though it wasn't the original plan for the show, that's a long-term story and it's been going for years. And I was thinking long-term. When I didn't want to do Mox and Tanahashi last summer, it was looking ahead because I realized there was probably a bigger platform than the show where it was proposed to happen in the parking lot of USC's football stadium. And so I thought there's a better place for this, and I'm going to be involved with AEW if that's going to happen, Mox and Tanahashi. And that was, it came close. The winner of Archer and Moxley was going to defend against Tanahashi, and Lance Archer pulled out his biggest win ever in the Texas Death Match at Fyter Fest in Texas. And so I was saved by the bell. But I think that it was, like John said, it was for a reason. Like, we held it back for a reason, and it all came together, just like with Claudio, and he was a perfect guy at the perfect time, and he was somehow available. And, like, what are the odds of that? Because when we started this company, look at it. Imagine dealing with the people who are just injured right now. Like, look at the people when we started this company who are out. Not just here, but I mean, like, Kenny and Cody are both out. Imagine how we would have sustained that at the beginning. Like, Kenny and Cody being out. Like, we would have been screwed. And, like, now you had, look at who's not at this pay-per-view with the list of stars, and we still were able to do, even with, you could headline any pay-per-view ever with a list of people that were out on this pay-per-view. And the roster's so deep compared to where we started that we were able to sustain it. And it's a credit to all those people from, the list of people who are injured in pro wrestling right now, not just here, but like I mentioned, across, other companies with Ishii and Roman not being able to come here, and even WWE's got big stars, like I mentioned, who were out injured. And AEW's got the most prominent injured list probably in pro wrestling, but we've still got such a deep roster that they came together, and tonight's one of the best nights we've ever had. So long-term thinking, a lot of this has been long-term thinking, but it's like, moving from piece to piece. I kind of alluded to it on the media call, that originally Punk, I didn't even allude to it, I just told you guys, Punk was going to be in the trios, man. It would have been Punk and FTR, right? Against Ospreay and the United Empire. It would have been totally different. Tanahashi would have been with Moxley. He wouldn't have been with the Blood and Guts people. He would have been with CM Punk if they wrestled, right? So I said on the media call, so imagine that. So and then think about that like there would have been interaction with Tanahashi and Ospreay probably, right? I would have done other stuff too. I had all kinds of stuff that we weren't able to do. That being said, it's long-term booking when you have Mox and Tana. That's something that not just like for a special day. You're not saving it for a rainy day. You're saving it for like a very special day when you need something very special. And this was that special day, Mox and Tana. It was just, they were the men of the moment. Claudio was a man of the moment. And so it fit in with our long-term plans, like this Blood and Guts we've been building to for so long. Going Chris and Eddie, there's a feud that goes back to the beginning of the year, before Joey broke Eddie's face and shut the feud down. And like so,
That was the end of last year.
that was in January and early January, and then Eddie couldn't fly or travel or come to the show, and so it was. This goes back to the like last year. And Chris and Eddie have been at each other's throats for a long time, and they both changed. John's changed. So we're in a different place now. It's a really good question, but I think going back to live television, a lot of a new roster coming in, and then those people getting injured changed a lot of things. And I'll leave you with one last thought that's kind of makes us full circle, but it's like interesting stuff. It's all stuff I would have said to you guys, and I said to you, look at where we've come this year. You remember when Kenny first got hurt, and when Chris was out with the blood clot, and John went into treatment, and the company was completely different. And we had just brought in CM Punk and Bryan Danielson and Adam Cole, all as free agents. And I was saying at the end of the year, to anybody who would listen, thank God I had these three guys, because they were, along with the CM Punk and MJF, the Bryan Danielson and Hangman, and the Adam Cole and Orange Cassidy, and this peripheral stuff around it was carrying the TV week to week. Those three guys won the three programs and carried the company through that time. And now look, and all three have had injuries and been out. Cole came back tonight. Hopefully he's going to be able to come back soon from that. But he had been out, and this is his first match in a long time. And then Danielson and Punk have been out, and Mox came back better than ever. Chris came back, and you got new faces coming and join the company that made including now Claudio. And so I just think it's pretty cool how full circle it came, because Chris and John were out. They've come back. They both look totally different. They've both done this transformation. And then the people who came and helped fill that void, now they need the time. Now they're beat up. And now these guys have stepped back in. The first two champions. I just think it's really cool. I think so we talk about, again, long-term, full circle, being back here in Chicago, having John and Chris at each other's throats again. That's long-term too. And I just thought it was really cool. So it all came together, even if it wasn't the original plan for tonight. Everything tonight had been coming. So it was awesome. Thanks for all being here. People traveled a long way to be here, a lot of you. And people from overseas, people from the West Coast and all over the world. And AJ, I kept you up late once again. And you got a lot of locker room talk, but by now you're probably used to it. All this, because even for you, this is pretty extreme. I'm sorry. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and I really appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Well, that was the end of the Forbidden Door post-media scrum. We're going to be heading out here very soon ourselves. I'm not sure if Kevin,
who's still with us,
but man, we've been on for over 2 hours. Kevin is going to be joining us here, so we will bring him in here in just a moment. Kevin? Can you hear us? You probably can't hear us. But while he gets situated and taken care of, yeah, man. So Tony Khan gave us a lot. I mean, he talked about everyone on the card. He talked about the struggles with the injuries and putting the card together. It's been challenging for him, but man, I think the most entertaining thing was Tony Khan hugging with a lot of passion tonight.
Yeah, a lot of it, especially Cesaro and of course Okada, who we hopefully will get to see again in the United States someday soon. And there's Kev.
Hey guys,
hey, Kev. What's up, buddy?
It's pretty freaking late.
It is pretty freaking late. We've been streaming for over 2 hours. We're about to sign off, but before we signed off, we wanted to get your thoughts and your takes of being at the media scrum and being at the event in general.
A who's who of wrestling media here. If you just watched the stream here at the end, you popped in, definitely go check it out. Skim through it. We'll timestamp it as well. If you're with us on the audio podcast, it'd be a great place to get it. We'll put up clips. I know people with shorter attention span, but a lot to look forward to in the year ahead with AEW. I think this show really set up a lot of things and opened more doors. So some exciting things and great comments from the talent you saw here as well. Okada, FTR, Jay White, Thunder Rosa. They're turning the lights out. I'm out, guys. I'll see you.
They turned the lights out. That means they're closing.
Good night,
closing, Kevin. So we shall sign off as well. But man, successful pay-per-view, a fun pay-per-view, a historic one. I hope you guys enjoyed this extra long stream. We normally don't do this, but we had access, and we brought you the media scrum. So
we'll break down the last 3 matches and ask for 1 to 10s tomorrow on Top Stories. So we'll kind of finish what we didn't get to, and then include the 1 to 10s for all of you in the chat that join us on Top Story tomorrow. Give us your 1 to 10, and we'll give our 1 to 10. We'll kind of wrap things up there for Top Story there tomorrow night.
Yes, sir. So remember, guys, to join us tomorrow around 6:30 Eastern Standard Time here on Sportskeeda Wrestling on our YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook channel. So make sure you set your notifications to see first and have your notification bell on so you don't miss when we go live. All right, guys, make sure you give us a follow on our social media at Jose G Official, at JB Huskers. And as always, remember to do the one most important thing when you're watching wrestling is to take a deep breath and do what, Jeremy?
Enjoy wrestling, and good night. Yeah.
Good morning. Max. Do.
Claudio.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!